country.
Yeah, I think it's a timely movie, isn't it? We could have never anticipated that our movie Working Man would be being released now next week in the age of coronavirus, and when so many people have lost their jobs and employment is on the tip of the tongue of the entire country. So I think it's probably a story that will resonate with a lot of people out there.
What brought you into developing this story?
This was an idea I had, honestly, a decade ago. It was a story that I'd written right after or around the time of the economic crisis of 2008, 2009. And I sent the script, didn't know quite what to do with it. I knew it wouldn't be a studio movie. I'd worked some for the studios before, but I knew that no studio would probably have interest in such a quote unquote small character driven movie. So I submitted the script to Film Independent, to their talent labs. Was fortunate enough to get into their screenwriting lab. My mentor there was the amazing Meg LaFoe, who great writer, producer, director. She wrote Inside Out for Pixar, and she was really responsible for challenging me as a writer to make the script everything that I'd hoped it could be. And it just developed. And she also introduced me to my longtime producing partner, Clark Peterson, who produced the Academy Award winning movie Monster with Charlize Theron. And we just tried a number of tactics over the course of a decade, failed a lot. And we wait for, you find yourself waiting ultimately for people to say no to you, right? Whether it's actors or investors. And then finally, we had an angel investor swoop in 2007 who loved the material, believed in it, and said, go make your movie. It was really kind of a miracle. And so in 2018, we shot the film in Chicago, a pretty quick 20-day production schedule. And then last year, we spent the year on the festival circuit. Lucky to get that done, considering what's happening now with everyone and festivals being canceled and so forth. And now next week, May 5th, we're going to be on demand. We'd planned a theatrical release, but COVID-19 had other plans. So here we are now releasing to the world next Tuesday, the 5th.
I thought it was very touching how the main character, after getting fired, he insists in his mind, and because for him his life is very related to work and it's very emotional. Mm-hmm. It's very nice to see that human part of this worker who, without I don't think he's only worried about his financial situation, but it's also part of his life has been taken away. Not only the financial security, right? I think.
Right. I think that's exactly it. And I think that's affecting a lot of us right now. You know, work isn't just about what it is, and we address that a little bit in the film. Work isn't just that thing that provides us money to survive. It gives us purpose so often. And in the case of our main characters, played by the amazing Peter Garrity, it's an escape. It's an escape from some guilt, perhaps. It's really a film that deals with loss of a factory to a community, loss of a job for an individual, loss of a family member to a father. So I think there's several things working at once in the movie, and several things that people might be able to relate directly to now based on our circumstances.
It's interesting how the political situation in this country has changed. In the past, the workers had unions to defend their rights, but now the situation is so corporate America is taking over our daily lives, I think. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, our film isn't particularly political one way or another. I would absolutely agree. So much of the security that used to exist with factory jobs, and these workers could depend on this work and a career. Um, in fact, the factory where we shot in Norwich, Illinois, the Chicago area, it closed just this past December after 70 plus years of operation. We were shooting in an operational factory, and a lot of the workers that you saw in the film were workers at the factory. We worked around them, and they in turn worked with us. It's, to me, it's like the Hollywood Reporter, I think, accurately said in their review. You know, this is really a tribute to out of work Americans, and not just Americans at this point. I think we're looking at a global crisis of how we treat our workers. So yeah, I think it's something we can certainly identify with.
I totally agree. My last question, because we're going to be editing, you know, we don't want to make it too long, just whatever we
Yeah,
need.
you don't want me to just carry on forever.
Yeah. No, what you're saying is interesting, but we have a limit of,
Of course.
editing. Uh, well, as you mentioned, I felt that it was kind of like a documentary too. I knew there were actors, but it felt like a documentary, very real. So the fact that you shot in a real factory, I guess, helped to get that sense of documentary.
I think it also helped that I had a pretty amazing cinematographer, our director of photography, a man named Piero Basso, Italian born. He splits time between where he lives in New York and Italy, doing films both here and abroad. And I think his experience, having grown up in the European cinema, um, he was able, when I saw Piero's reel before I'd even met him, I knew that he would be able to capture that authenticity you're talking about, that realness of what it means to be in that factory and be with those workers. And that was my hope from the beginning, is that we would be able to convey an idea of, this is a very real world, and we want to feel like you're transported there. We had a fundraiser screening here in my home city of Iowa City at our nonprofit art house cinema here, and there was friends and family of mine who were factory workers themselves, and I asked those folks afterwards. I said, "Did we get it right? Did it look and feel appropriate?" And to a person, they said, "Yeah, this you really captured that." So I'm really pleased. And again, just when you have a great DP and you have great actors like Peter Garrity, Talia Shire, Billy Brown, and this amazing Chicago cast, sometimes you catch lightning in a bottle, and I hope that's what we did.